Small cubes actually just work so much better.
The only problem for me is that well, not problem, but GAN has 56 millimeter cubes. They're kind of working on a smaller one. I would like to see that. That'd be really cool for me. They're kind of working on a smaller one. I would like.
They're kind of working on a smaller one.
Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. I've had the GAN 354 for about a week now. I've done a ton of solves on it, tensioned it, done a bunch of different setup to it, and I have some thoughts on it. So this is going to be kind of my full review. I'm mainly going to talk about the aspects of the puzzle and my overall opinion on it. So I've already gone over some things in the unboxing. I'll link that in the description. Basically, I've gone over that there's different springs you can get in it. They come with green already installed, but there are other ones also in the package. There's the yellow, the blue, and the purple. Now the springs are something that I really like about GAN. They're really easy to just take one out and put a different one in. It is right now only in stickerless. I believe there will be a stickered version out in the future, but it is only in stickerless, and this is the only stickerless puzzle from GAN since the 357, so it's been quite a while, and it was not stickerless like this. When I did the unboxing, I said that it looked more like old school shades. I'm going to take that back a little bit. Old school shades were very plain, very dull, and this definitely has a bright yellow, a bright green, a bright orange with a light blue, a light red. Everything does look really good. It doesn't have the crazy fluorescent orange or fluorescent green from some other puzzles, but it's a really nice subdued color that's really comfortable to look at. It's different than what I'm used to, but it's easy to get used to after just some time. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, we talked about smaller size puzzles in the podcast, and 54 millimeters, it's a good size. It's not too small where I think people would be uncomfortable using it, but it's small enough to where it's definitely a little bit easier to look ahead, in my opinion, and a little easier to turn. If it was any smaller than this, I think it'd really alienate other people from liking it. So besides the 54 millimeter, some things about it, it does have a similar design to the GAN SM, where it has the metal octopus core, as well as having the GES springs, and the honeycomb design on the pieces. Now the honeycomb design is a little bit different. The octopus core is actually different, so you cannot just switch cores, and you cannot put the GES springs from the GAN SM onto this one. And with that said, the GES springs are a new batch. They're actually a little bit wider, so if you have that GAN tensioning tool, it uses that widest one on this. So the middle one was used for the SM and all the ones before that, and the 460 uses the smallest end. And one of the biggest things you can notice is that the magnets are visible from the outside. They have those different colored. I believed for a while that you'd be able to switch them out with different colors, but now I'm thinking the different colors have to do just with polarities, and it makes it easier for them to install and put them together. The magnets are good middle of the road strength. I have no issues with those and feel like that's actually really nice. As I said in my unboxing, corner cutting is great. You can corner cut from most anywhere. But I'm going to talk about the one issue I have with this, and that's the flexibility of it. GAN cubes for a while were known as being very flexible. The GAN 3 and the GAN 357 were very flexible, and then as we got to the 356 and the Air and the SM, they got more and more stable. This is more reminiscent, not of the SM, but in my opinion, of the 357. So I've got the 357 here, and of course, it's a very different design, and it doesn't have magnets, and it has, actually this one has a metal core because this is the 357 Ultimate. But the way it turns and the way it feels, to me, feels more like how the 354 does. Now I've put a ton of lubrication in this, a ton of weight 6. I put some weight 6 also under the springs. I usually don't recommend putting them where the springs screw on because that doesn't help keep the springs in place, but putting it underneath the spring where the base of the center cap would touch it, and that helped release some spring noise that I was hearing. But because of flexibility, the heavier lube has helped a little bit make it feel more stable, and I put in the yellow springs, which are the most stable of them. But I really wish there were some clear springs in here, or at least even, I don't know if orange would be too much, but at least the clear springs, because when this does flex, it doesn't really want to unflex too easily on its own. It just kind of stays there. And although I feel like I am a really stable, consistent solver usually, especially on last layer algorithms, I'm getting some lockup, some issues that I don't usually get. You can see in one of the videos, I'll either tag it or I'll put it right around this time. When I'm doing just an H-perm, I actually had to slow down a little bit because although it corner cuts most anywhere, if it's a little misaligned, it doesn't want to corner cut through that. That's one thing sometimes people forget. Although things can corner cut when you're holding it stable, when things flex, that changes a ton of how much it can actually corner cut. Now, I'm not alone in thinking that we need some clear springs in here. I've talked to multiple other people who say, yeah, they wish that was the case too. And that's an easy fix. Hopefully GAN can just pump out some other springs and say, okay, here are some extra ones you can get now. Now, with that said, I've talked to a lot of people who say this is the greatest cube they have ever used, and they have no issue. So if you like that flexibility and you feel like you can work through that, that's fine. My times have actually been pretty consistent. They're almost exactly what my averages were before, and if they are like point some seconds off, it might just be another 2 or 3 weeks to get used to it. It is really comfortable to use. The stickerless plastic is actually very grippy. I don't know if it's anything I did to it with like the way I lubricated it and maybe getting some on the outside, but it actually is nice and grippy and controllable. I'm not slipping off it at all. So a couple final thoughts about this. If you're looking for a mini puzzle and thought the Cubing Classroom 50mm was too small, this is a really good modern one. There's not too many mini puzzles anymore that are around that 54mm size. A few years back, there were a lot of different ones that were around 54.5mm, so this is a good callback to those ones. But it is a really nice size. You get a lot of options like you would with the SM where you get multiple springs. I do wish there was one stronger one, but it's a quality puzzle. It feels really nice. I would recommend if you do get it to invest in some lubrication as well, especially some weight 6. Like I said, that's what I really like to use. And also I added a little bit of solar just to add a little bit more gumminess without slowing it down too much. It really feels much nicer with that lubrication added. And you can even hear this. Now I don't have a tape right now of how it sounded before, but just grabbing my SM, it's a similar sound. But compared to, let's say, a 357, no, that's very loud. So overall, it's a really nice puzzle. I do have that one issue with it, but that's a very easy fix, and hopefully GAN will come out with some clear springs. But like I said, if you like the puzzle to be flexible, this is perfect. And if you want to go for even the lighter springs and just really work with that flexibility, that can work as well because it comes with it. So thank you very much. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.